Okay, see, that's the kind of thing I was talking about, and it actually worked out pretty darn well. So
Yeah, congrats on that.
there's some content for you. That was certainly not how I planned it, but what run can go exactly the way you plan it, right?
Yeah, we got real close there. Oh, 7 thief. Oh, wait, it's funny. Oh, hang on a second. The run maybe isn't dead. The run is not dead. Here I was, bemoaning the run was dead. It's not dead. Oh. And time. Oh, no. And time.
There's a neat little time save here, which I'm usually quite bad at. Got it! Nice. I can't remember the last time I got that right.
So you're going to see another one right here if you missed it the first time, because there's going to be an enemy that pops up, and I need to go up. So when there's an enemy above me and I need upsies, whee! We go big upsies.
As soon as we entered the next level, Crystal Islands, this is what this trick has been leading up to. You've seen Spyro just do, throw, like, flame everything. What about throw a green rocket? Yep, that's it.
So it's very fun to just mess around and try out this version of the game. Again, it's a built-in cheat code, so it's its own category. It's not allowed or permitted in other runs, but it is permitted for this one.
I'm going to change powers here to this one here, which will, once I activate it, grant me 3 seconds of invincibility. So I'm going to be timing that about here. About halfway down the lane, so that I can avoid any obstacles that would otherwise have knocked me out of the way.
Back to what I was saying about coyote jumping, but first, cranking. We have the crank key.
We're finally gonna go off an adventure and figure out what the secret of Veronis is.
Yay!
Which we won't find out until the end of the game, obviously.
We're not gonna tell you what it is, honestly.
But we can... No way! Chat, you have just been witness to one of the rarest things in this game. And he just... From the checkpoint. What? Anybody who's in my community who's here is going to be losing their minds. This is Trico poop! We petted him so much that he pooped.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. There we go. We've pet the kitty 9 times, the Mew included. That Mew it's absolutely so adorable.
Hello everyone, welcome back to our fun little interview section where I'm bringing amazing people that are involved with this event. And I have brought someone real special because I have brought a friend of mine. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I sure would. Hello, my name is Vaughn. I am going to be doing a run of Newtopia 100% on Friday night of Prevent-A-Thon 5, and I am very excited about this. This is my first time participating in a Prevent-A-Thon, so I'm very excited.
Which leads beautifully well into my first question of why did you decide to get involved with Prevent-A-Thon?
Well, I have a lot of friends that are involved in it, like yourself, and Cell, and T-Tree, and so on and so forth. And when I was hanging out with a bunch of these lovely folks at AGDQ this year, they encouraged me very heavily to get involved with what they were doing. They told me about Little Warriors and what that's all about. And it was, honestly, it was a pretty easy sell. I thought it was a fantastic mission, and I love participating in speedrunning marathons. So it all made a whole bunch of sense. So here I am.
Yeah, we're a little passionate here in Prevent-A-Thon. How did you get into speedrunning then, if I may ask?
You know, yeah. So I got into speedrunning a long time ago. I went down a YouTube rabbit hole where I was watching a bunch of task videos, and because I thought they were fascinating, which then led me to people actually doing actual speedruns, which then led me to AGDQs from like this is over a decade ago. And I thought, oh, okay, these are kind of cool. And then it wasn't until I saw a VOD of Brosentia doing a speedrun of Final Fantasy IV, which was one of my favorite games growing up. And I thought, you can speedrun RPGs too. Back then, it just seemed like a foreign concept. And I thought, okay, I really like this game. And knowing that you can do this in about 2 hours, let me try it. So I kind of learned it on my own. And then about 2017, there was a tournament that was being held by the folks in the Final Fantasy IV community for a partial game category. It's called Paladin Percent, which is about an hour long. And I thought, okay, I kind of know this route already. Let me join this tournament and give it a try. And what happened from there was I met a lot of really awesome people in the RPG speedrunning community. Went to RPG Limit Break in 2017, met these people like, oh yeah, this is awesome. I definitely want to get involved with this crew. So from there, I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to start pouring a lot more of my time and energy into this whole speedrunning thing. And it just took off from there. And here I am 8 years later, still doing my thing, getting really involved with, you know, marathons like this, RPG Limit Break, GDQ, and everything else in between. And it's been a wild ride, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. It's been a lot of fun. Speedrunning has brought me a lot, honestly.
That's fantastic. And you actually hit on something that I was going to be curious about. One of my favorite speedrunning memories is early on, I fell in love with speedrunning. And one of the things that I enjoyed very much was the old meme of, hey, bro, Sencha. I have since had the pleasure of becoming friends with Bro Sencha, who is a fantastic human being, and someone whose company I very much adore. But what is your favorite speedrunning meme that you've encountered throughout the years?
Well, so there's a meme that was born back in 2019, which actually centers around a run that I did, and it just so happens to be the same game that I will be doing here for Prevent-A-Thon, so I run a game called Newtopia. And if you are not familiar with this game, it has striking similarities to the old Legend of Zelda games. And by similarities, I mean it's basically a direct ripoff. So we thought it would be fun to kind of turn that comparison on its head, and instead of saying that Newtopia drew heavily from Zelda, we decided to just turn it the other way around and say, well, no, it's actually Zelda that was inspired by Newtopia. And so when I did this run, I had two really good friends in particular on the couch, Scala Kitty and Natara. And they both just took off and ran with this whole meme, and it was going on all throughout the run, and it kind of just grew from there. And I've heard that meme back from people that, like, I don't even know. You know, I'll hear some random person make reference to it. I'm like, how do you know about that? That came from me. And it's funny to see the reach of that meme and how far out it gets, and how far out of hand it gets too, which I enjoy very well. So I know that's kind of a biased answer, but I think that's my favorite speedrunning meme, excuse me, is that basically, you name it, it was inspired by Newtopia.
I love it though, because you get to leave your little influence and your little grain of sand in the speedrun community with that meme.
It is that is going to be, you know, when I am old and gray or dead and gone or whatever you however you regard it, that will be my contribution to the culture of speedrunning. Is, you know, a game that virtually no one else runs, but I was able to take this meme and have it consume basically an entire event and beyond. That's my contribution to speedrunning culture there, my lasting legacy.
Right, so my next question is actually sourced from a member of our community. We have a beloved member of our community named Pat the Dog, who asks a question, and that is, woof, 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 woof?
Well, you know, I would give an answer, but I do have some folks here who actually speak that language natively.
Oh.
And yes, so I could give an answer, and my answer would naturally be woof, 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 woof. But if you would like to hear somebody actually give potentially an appropriate answer to that, then I would recommend that you tune in on Friday night to Prevent-A-Thon and keep an eye on an incentive for the run that I'm doing. It might have something to do with that question. You'll have to find out what that means, though.
Fantastic. And then to close off, I have one final question for you, and that is,
yes,
we have a wonderful, fantastic set of runs today on Friday. Of the amazing schedule that we have, what are you most excited for?
You know, I think I'm most excited for the runs that'll be coming before mine because they're all from dear friends of mine who are in the RPG Limit Break community. My boy Kyo is doing Final Fantasy 15 as he does. My boy Sid is doing FF7 remake as he does. And then before that is GK or Ghost Kumo doing an East game as he does. And so it's just great to see good friends of mine doing their core games, what they're known for, what they grind, and bringing a fun block of all of us together. So I would say those three runs: the East, the Final Fantasy 7, and the Final Fantasy 15.
That sounds fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me here, Ronnie. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your event, and we look forward to seeing you in a few hours for your run.
Thank you, Alara. Take care, everyone.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but it takes a village to heal a child too. Be Brave Ranch is that village. Your support means therapy, safety, and love for kids who need it the most. Let's be the village that heals these kids.
Because healing starts here with you.
Join me.
Hello, everyone, and I am still here. I am going to bring you another friend of the event. I have brought with me Kyo's little monster. Say hi to our new friends, Kyo.
Hi, new friends. I'm Kyo. I'm here.
You are, in fact, here, and you were here running a fantastic game called Final Fantasy 15 for us today on Friday.
I am. It's going to be fun. And it's way faster than anyone thinks it is.
I'm excited for it because I know how broken that run is. So the fact that it's just going to continue getting broken more and more, and just if you don't know what you're expecting in the audience, please stay tuned for that run because it is not Final Fantasy 15 as you know it.
Yeah, I think at this point, especially with the new tech, I don't know if I'll do it in this run. We'll figure it out by Friday, but I think at this point it's the only run that's shorter. I think is 64 stair and I think sketch maybe. So like this went from one of like the middle of the pack runs to one of the fastest Final Fantasy runs of all time.
That's super cool. So my first question for you would be, why did you decide to get involved with Prevent-A-Thon?
My lovely friend Cubs bumped me about a month or two ago. He's like, I'm working with this really cool event with a lot of people that you know, and you should submit. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, I can do that. I can definitely do that. I had just started working actually with RPG Limit Break, so I was kind of getting my feet really wet into the concept of like working more on the back end of bigger marathons. And then I saw some of the other people who submitted, and I was like, oh yeah, these are my people. Friends that I've worked with through Limit Break or done runs with previously. So it's a really freaking good cause too. So
we actually have a whole boatload of Limit Break people here on the event, actually sharing a day with you of all things on Friday, which is kind of fantastic that we have our little impromptu Limit Break block.
Yeah, it is actually a block. You got GK, Sid, myself, and Vonnie.
So, given how much of a stacked day Friday is, not counting your own run, what's the run you're most looking forward to?
That's a tough question. Newtopia is always a really good run. Vonnie's just, I associate those things together. But if you've not seen the East run that GK has been working on for, I want to say almost 2-3 years now, that run's really neat. There's a lot of tech in it that it just, you wouldn't think it would be as wild as it is, kind of like 15, but there is some silliness going on in there.
It almost doesn't look like an RPG speedrun.
Yeah, it's very much like, especially with 15, like yes, it's an RPG, but there's not much of that really left. Like there is because of menus. But yeah, it's really interesting how with certain speedruns, as you continue to take more and more away from what you need to do, what you're left with is very abstract sometimes.
And then the next thing I have for you is actually a community question from none other than Pat the dog, who wants to ask you, woof 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 woof.
It's a well thought out question. Perhaps Bork. I don't actually own any dogs, but I do have a ferret and 3 cats and an army of stray cats on the porch.
Listen, don't tell Pat, but I'm actually a little bit of a cat person. And I have my own little Prevent-A-Thon helper here with me. Meet Macaroni.
Oh my goodness. What are you? You're so cute.
Macaroni has plenty of marathon lore. We can talk about that some other time. But a few people will probably remember Macaroni. And then my next question for you is, what is your dream speed game? It's a hard one. It's a hard one.
I would really love to be able to go back to like Final Fantasy 12 PS2, Nier Automata, apply the new strats, get a better time, but I think as I've just been speedrunning so long and like watched a lot of my friends burn out, I realize like sometimes you just have to leave stuff where it is. It's just not worth the hassle. I have been looking at Claire Obscure, Expedition 33. Great game. Would recommend if you haven't looked at it or played it. It is tremendous.
No spoilers for anyone in chat that hasn't finished the game, because oh my goodness, the
definitely
spoilers in that game are.
Yeah. I will say, like, I've had an ongoing just love of the game, but like it wears all of its influences on its sleeves. I think that might be my new fixation, with a combat system that's very kind of almost Sea of Stars like, if you're familiar with that game, where
Ooh.
there's timed inputs, but still in that turn-based system. There are some pretty neat out of bounds things that are going on in it. There's a few wrong warps, some menu bashing, and the soundtrack's absolutely tremendous. So I could vibe with that, and I think it's currently like right around the hour and a half mark, which again, as I get older and more responsibilities, like I don't have it in me to do 7-8 hour speed runs anymore, but like an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3, maybe 4, those I can do on a nightly basis and, still perform well.
Shout out to anyone who has the time and energy to do those 12-hour speed runs or Batten Kaidos 100%.
I used to, but life's responsibilities, I guess.
Yeah. All right, I will close off with the same question I ask everyone else, and that is Pat the goodest boy?
Absolutely. All dogs are good boys.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us, Keo. I know that everyone's going to be excited. We have an action-packed, amazing Friday. Everyone, this schedule for today is just wild. It is a very stacked day. So I look forward to seeing your run, and I look forward to seeing everyone else's run today. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And everything.